Hello, my audience. I just realized I've been talking to nobody for the last, several minutes because I didn't have my screen recorder turned on. Okay, so we're back to the same video with the BP-42 or armored train escort mission that's supposedly in Silo Heights, in the battle of which took place very late in the war, and it was like what the penultimate battle before the Battle of Berlin itself. In fact, it's included as part of the Battle of Berlin. Now, historically, there are several reasons why this mission doesn't make any sense. First of all, is essentially this was the last battle of the war before Germany surrendered to the Allied forces, and there was no armored train present there, from what I know from history. And even if there had been one, it wouldn't have been fought over. It would have been just simply abandoned and captured by the abandoned and or sabotaged by the Germans, or simply, or more likely destroyed, sabotage, or it would have been captured by the advancing, Red Army forces. So there's right off the bat, there's no reason, this makes no sense historically.
I totally understand if you only play the game for, let's say, Normandy or Moscow or even Tunisia. This update.
Okay, so here we go again with the flat wagon on the back carrying the 180 millimeter Morser, or just a really big howitzer. Now, it's a heavy artillery piece. It's folded up in the traveling configuration, and it is absolutely worthless dead weight on this train. Why is it there? I don't know. It doesn't make even sense even in gameplay, because there's nothing, because other than as a convenient way up onto the train, there's nothing, this wagon is doing absolutely nothing. It's just carrying a useless big gun. Okay, so in this shot, you can actually see there are firing ports on the back of this bastardized mix of the command wagon and also known as the K wagon, and the A wagon, which is the one that had the guns on it. It was specifically designed for that job. So basically, so the guys kind of took a liberty with this, and they kind of decided to just slap the two together, and hope nobody would notice. Well, there's a problem here. For starters, the reason why those big doors on the back there are closed, where they would normally be open to allow crew to come in and leave, they're not just closed because they're on the back of the train, and they're opening them would be stupid and pointless. They're closed because the actual turret here would, as you can see in earlier interior shots, would actually would be right about here. So it would actually block those doors, basically. So unless those doors are for loading ammunition, which they wouldn't be, you'd use the side doors for that. Those back doors wouldn't be there, and those firing ports wouldn't be there. Now, those firing ports, on the other hand, if that turret wasn't there and this was a proper command wagon or even infantry wagon, what would be happening is the guys climbing on the back here would be getting murdered because by guys behind the armor here firing their rifles, machine guns, or whatever they've got from from the other side of the armor. So yeah, this part, climbing onto the back here, would be extremely difficult. Also, this flat wagon, the flat wagons on the back or in front of armored trains were usually loaded down with railroad ties and or as sleepers, as they're called, and railroad the actual track sections. This was so for two reasons. First of all, it was a simple way to carry a bunch of spare, essentially replacements for any damaged railroad segments, without using up without protecting them for no real reason. Another thing is that it served essentially as a kind of improvised mine clearance device, where basically you'd push these ahead, front of and behind the track, and they would essentially take a mine detonation, which would prevent the rest of the train from suffering more damage, far more damage. So basically, the idea is that the force goes through the flat wagon. The explosion goes through the flat wagon. The whole train doesn't get derailed. There's no big ammunition explosions, etc. So it was a simple and effective method of detonating mines that would otherwise destroy the rest of the train. And also, when the wagon with the flat wagon with all the extra rails and stuff was derailed, it also meant that you could just the engineers who inevitably were on these trains would just jump out, along with the infantry, and, that were on board would jump out, and they would immediately set to one, make sure there were no more bombs, two, that there were no ambushers waiting for them, if they weren't already shooting at them, which they often were at this point, and if they were, they would fight them. They would fight them away from the train and from behind the armor usually, and two, they would once that was done, they would proceed to repair the part of the track that had just been blown up, so that you could actually get the train moving again. So yeah, this flat wagon makes no sense. Basically, is what I'm saying.
That's kind of lame. I completely understand that aspect of it. So
yeah, see that top thing back there, that kind of like square-ish dome. Hold on a second, I'll go back.
It is a valid response to it, because those campaigns really didn't get anything except for what I would consider filler weapons within the campaigns.
Once again, we have a armored hatch on the side, which for some insane reason you cannot close. That doesn't make any sense to me, even for gameplay reasons. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to close this hatch.
We do enjoy this update. A lot of positive
look,
things.
There, you saw it. Exactly what I was talking about. See if I can go without going too far back.
I really do enjoy it.
There, just as the guy jumps in, you can see it right there. That is the turret basket for the howitzer up front. And that is directly in the way of the big double door on the back of the car that I mentioned that is seemingly there for like literally no reason, because they basically took two different kinds of wagons and just mashed them together here. They took the front of a command wagon, and just decided to put the turret on there, for, yeah.
A lot of positive things have came, like weekly tasks.
And here you can see, why you would keep these doors closed if somebody's like, the different sections of the train. It's like a ship. If you've got guys on your ship, you're not going to leave the doors open so they can just shoot and throw grenades down it, right? Well, the same goes for an armored train. You're not going to just leave the hatches open, so people can throw grenades in, and make it much easier to destroy, capture, or just, blow up the train itself. So, but every single big hatch on this train is open, which is stupid.
It's being able to do the battle pass a little bit quicker.
Now this, from what I can tell, it's got these tables, which are probably map tables. This is what inside the command wagon would look like. It would have tables for the officers, for maps, etc. It would have a big radio set up, or probably several radios, actually, for communicating with the rest of the train and also other forces, so they could call them like air support or whatever, they needed, or just find out where people were. So this is a more realistic representation of, this is what the K-Wagon, this is what the command wagon should look like. It should also have a number of firing ports with machine guns already placed. It should also the floor section here is another big problem, because the floors, for obvious reasons, because trains were vulnerable to mines, would be armored. It would be plated over with with metal or whatever, or with some type of protection to mitigate mine blasts. Yeah, so that's just stupid.
Especially if you are a free-to-play player.
Yeah, and the whole floor.
The new mini event for bayonets, and
once again demonstrating why this map is stupid realistically, because you have a T-34 that has somehow gotten this close to the train and is burning after being damaged. This train would not be, nobody would be fighting over this train. Nobody would be trying to get this train out of the station. They would just put some bombs in it, blow the train up, or just simply just get the hell out of there, because it's just not worth it. Okay, so I'm about to run out of time on this one. Yeah, I've only got 30 seconds left for a 10-minute video. So I'll call it here.